The Galaxy S26 Ultra is shaping up to be one of the most powerful smartphones of 2026, but a new leak reveals that your experience with the device could be very different from someone else's even if both phones carry the same name. Why? Because of a behind-the-scenes decision that Qualcomm might be making about the chip that powers the S26 Ultra. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to launch in late January or early February 2026, and it will likely be powered by Qualcomm's latest flagship chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2. On paper, this sounds great. But here's where it gets interesting. Qualcomm might not be relying on a single chip manufacturer to build this processor. Instead, it could be using a method called dual sourcing, which means some chips will be produced by TSMC and others by Samsung Foundry. This could lead to a big difference in how well your S26 Ultra performs compared to someone else's even, though both phones would technically have the same processor. Let's break it down. According to the well-known tipster digital chat station on Weibo, Qualcomm hasn't cancelled the Samsung-built version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2. This means that two versions of the chip could exist when the Galaxy S26 Ultra is launched, one version built by TSMC and one by Samsung Foundry. Here's the difference between the two. TSMC is planning to build the chip using its third-generation 3nm process. This is the same process Apple will use for the A19 chip in the iPhone 17 series. TSMC is widely known for its high-quality chip production, with strong performance and great efficiency. In fact, many users already believe that TSMC builds the best smartphone processors. Samsung Foundry, on the other hand, will use its own 2nm process with gate-all-around GAA transistor architecture. Now, on paper, Samsung's 2nm GAA process could be even more advanced than TSMC's 3nm process. Why? Because as the process node number gets smaller, so do the transistors inside the chip. Smaller transistors mean you can pack more of them into the same space, which usually results in better performance and lower power consumption. And here's the real kicker. Samsung's GAA technology allows the gate to surround the channel on all four sides. This design helps to prevent current leaks and improves overall efficiency. That means the chip can deliver high performance while using less power, something every smartphone user wants. So if Samsung's 2nm chips are so advanced, why are people still concerned? The problem is not just about technology, it's about reliability. Samsung Foundry has had some major struggles in recent years, especially with chip yields. Yield refers to how many usable chips you can produce from a batch. A low yield means more waste, higher costs, and potentially more defective units. But Samsung has reportedly improved and finally reached a 50% yield target, an important milestone. Still, in the first quarter of 2025, Samsung Foundry only had a 7.7% market share in the chip-making industry, compared to TSMC's massive 67.6%. That tells you how much trust major tech companies place in TSMC. Now, when the Galaxy S26 Ultra launches, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 inside your phone might be built by either of these companies. This opens the door to some possible differences. The TSMC version might offer slightly better performance and battery life. The Samsung version could still be powerful and efficient thanks to its 2nm GAA design, but might not match TSMC's consistency. It's also worth noting that the pricing for this new chip won't be much higher than the previous generation, which means Qualcomm's trying to keep costs under control even while using cutting-edge 3nm and 2nm manufacturing. Looking ahead, Qualcomm may take this even further with the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 3, expected in 2027. Rumors suggest Qualcomm could offer two distinct versions of that chip, a Pro version made by TSMC with top-tier performance, and a regular version made by Samsung Foundry with slightly lower specs. These versions could be used in different models of the Galaxy S27 series. For now, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 could come into forms as M885 OS from Samsung Foundry, also known by the codename Konopoly S, and another version from TSMC. So when you're thinking about buying the Galaxy S26 Ultra, it might not just be about which color or storage size you choose. The version of the chip inside your phone could actually shape your entire experience, from battery life to gaming performance and everything in between. Will Qualcomm officially confirm dual sourcing? That remains to be seen, but as leaks continue to surface, it's something you might want to pay close attention to before making a purchase. Because in 2026, not all Galaxy S26 Ultras will be created equal.